I'm a guy that's 25. Lego Star Wars is my life. I like Ryan Johnson. I'm Rich Boy J. Hello boyos, Rich Boy J here, backing up with another video, and this is going to be another episode of the Starkiller base mock build series. Before we get into the video, I just want to give a shout out to those of you who supported the stream via donations, via super chats. So shout out to Axidroid, Lamborghini Waffle Sauce, SW Bricks and Figs, Coconut Bricks Productions, Kult of Christansen, Elias Jones, Shane, Joe, Brickplug, and Dan6151. You guys are awesome. And for those of you who are not tuning into the streams, I certainly urge you to do so. It is a great way for you to not only see the mock early, but to also hang out with some boyos, talk Star Wars. What more could you possibly want? This week was, I think, a pretty good week by way of just Starkiller based progress. I don't think I got done as much as I wanted to get done because I was still finishing up finals last week. Like last week is when I actually took my finals, so I didn't really have a full week to actually work on the build. However, I made it a point to try to get as much done as possible, try to get something that I thought was worth showing off in an update finished up, and I think you guys are going to see that whenever we dive into the progress. With this progress that I got done this week, I'm maybe a little bit off schedule when it comes to getting this thing prepared for Brick Fiesta, but what that means is just I have to work even more hard this week to kind of catch up. I really did want to have the trenches completely done by this episode. You'll see that that's not the case, but what that does mean is that this upcoming update, I have to have the trenches completely done. It gives me maybe a little bit more time to do a few more things that I wouldn't have done if I was just trying to rush through it, but I definitely want to have these trenches done at least by the next episode. But with that being said, guys, like, I think you're really going to appreciate what I got done this week. So enough talking, let's dive right into the build. All right, the first thing I have to show off to you guys this week is this turret build that I'm going to be working on. Before I dive into this, I want to show you a quick screenshot from the film. Right over here, you can see that basically built into these Starkiller based trench walls, there are these little sections that stick out, and there's a turret sitting on there, and there's actually a little stormtrooper manning the turret right there. And yeah, these are some huge turrets. The ones that I built, or the one that I built, is not nearly this big. It's a little bit shrunken down just due to the size of the trench that I'm working with, but I do still think it's going to look really nice. I'm going to have basically the 3 large cannons sitting right here on the front of this, but this is what I've come up with so far. I was pretty happy with the smoothness of this angled section down here below, just getting all these angles to kind of meet up in a nice and relatively smooth way. I was pretty happy with. Still have some small gaps down here, but that's something I can live with for this. It's not going to keep me up at night. But the details in here, I'm particularly happy with, like these grill pieces at the bottom here, especially throwing in some white and even some brown. I think I'm becoming a little bit more comfortable with throwing in some brown in here just to really give it maybe a weathered, rusted look. I think it's making a nice difference, kind of not making everything look so flat and great, but really giving it a little bit of texture. And then even up top on the surface of this thing, we got some of those grills in there. And I even used the 1x1 round plates to just give a little bit more detail in there. And up top, this is the turret that I've built, or at least the base of it. And it does rotate, so there is a play feature in this. Whee! That you guys can see here. I'll probably just have it positioned like this, and I still need to build the cannons on the front. One small mistake I did make was filling in this section right here when there actually should be a cannon sticking out of it, which is kind of annoying actually, because I actually have this mounted to some pieces that are basically right here in this section. So I'm actually going to have to try to figure out another place to mount it so I can open this up and have the cannon sticking out of it. You can see I got a 501st troop here manning the turret. I didn't have a First Order Stormtrooper nearby when I was building this, so I just decided to go with the 501st boy. But you can get just a general idea of how this is going to look. I think it looks pretty cool. I think once I get the top part of the cannon, it'll look especially cool. And I also need to build the ground, or not the ground, the floor of this thing, I guess might be the term for it. I need to build that out going further back that way just to give it a little bit more space. And I'm going to have the back wall come up and then over this. And this, it's going to be an entire thing. I'm basically going to replicate this build right here, or at least the shape of it, above this, so the angle kind of continues after this gap up to the top of the trench, kind of like what you see here. You can see the shape of it is right here, and then it's open where the turret is, and then it just continues straight up. So got a lot of work to do, got a lot of bricks to stack, but I think this is going to be a very interesting looking section of the build. So I'm going to go ahead and hop right back to it. And look at that, we have ourselves a turret. Let me try to give you guys a quick 360 view of the thing. There's the backside, added in the other area where the troop would be standing, and got the 3 cannons mounted. And I think it's looking pretty awesome. Like I mentioned earlier, the scale is not accurate at all. You can see from this photo, the thing is supposed to be much bigger than even as I've built it here, but I'm pretty happy with it. I think it'll fit the MOC much better this way than if I really tried to size it and have it be accurate with the confines of the size of the trench. And I'm really just happy with the way all these shapes came together, specifically with this like trapezoidal base, getting all these angles to kind of finish off nicely. Don't have any large unsightly gaps anywhere on this thing, which was cool. And I'm really proud of the cannons up top. I specifically like this angled section right here. If you look at the actual cannon that is on it, so that's a bit accurate. At the top, I had to take quite a few creative liberties. I just threw some greebling on there that I thought would look nice because we never actually see the top of this cannon. And I think it worked out. I think there's a good balance of that white color in there to represent some of the snow-covered areas of the turret, and just some good mechanical looking bits there to really make it look like a functioning turret, if you will. But yeah, that's what we got for the turret so far. The next thing I want to show you is something that I just went so ham on building. Like, I probably should have broken this up into a few more segments, but I was like, no, I was in my zone. I really wanted to get this even mostly finished up. So here is a look at the enclosure that the turret is going to be in. You can see that we got the ground finished up here. We got these back little fixtures, which are basically smaller versions of the fixtures that I have in the hangar section of Starkiller base. If any of you were around for me building that section of the build, these will look somewhat familiar to you. And of course, they are represented here in the back. That's kind of what those are supposed to be. It's kind of hard to tell because of the white glow. Let me see, maybe I can turn the brightness down a little bit. Yeah, I guess, I don't know if you guys can tell. But yeah, those are back there, and they look pretty awesome, honestly. Like, having these built makes the back wall look so much nicer than it would if I just left it flat gray slab. So really happy with those. I'm also particularly happy with how these angles lined up. You can see just the way those slopes came together on the back end down there, and even how it lines up on the floor. That just really worked out in my favor. I don't know how else to put it. I am still going to need more of those 1x1 quarter circle tiles to finish off the rest of the lights that go all the way up these fixtures. But that'll be a simple thing I can put in. It's not going to stop me from working on this at this point. But yeah, I was super happy with this. I'm going to go ahead and put the turret on top of this to show you guys what it all looks like together. So yeah, let's go ahead and check that out. And look at this. Oh man, this makes me so happy, especially seeing these angles line up there towards the top. Wow, this is just so freaking cool. I feel I've done a very nice job at recreating this section of the Starkiller base trench. And I don't know, I love the depth of it as well. Like, once this is lined up with all the other trench walls, I think the fact that this goes so far in is really going to look nice. It's going to look unique in that way. And we got the turret, of course, sitting here. The turret actually does rotate. I built it on a rotating base, so it's good to go there. I'm still trying to consider whether or not I'll add some troops kind of running out. I know in the actual scene you can see like a troop or two running out like alongside here. I may or may not add it. Like, as it stands, I didn't actually build any studs to connect them to, so I just kind of have to sit them there and hope for the best. But it is certainly something that I could achieve. It's not impossible at this point. But yeah, this is the bulk of the progress for this week. I think the one last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some lights in here so you guys can get a really good look at what this is going to look like. And I think that'll also make for an awesome looking picture of this, like for the thumbnail of this video, once I get that finished up. So I'm going to go ahead and get some lights installed on this, and then we'll see how it looks. All right, guys, we got the lights installed in this turret enclosure, and it's looking pretty awesome, if I might say so myself. I went ahead and put 3 back there on the wall. That's actually accurate. Those are supposed to be there. And then if you dig your head underneath there, you can see there's 2 more, which basically illuminate this section right here. I didn't want to put too many lights in here. In fact, if you look at the actual scene, it's not super bright under there. You know, it's just barely illuminated, which is why I didn't want to go all out and make it super bright under there. I just went with the 2 so you could at least get a good view of the turret, especially once everything above this is completely covered, and it's going to be a little bit darker, you know, in there. But this is awesome. I love the way this came out. The lights really make it look special. This is the first time I've installed lights in anything Lego related in quite some time, so it was kind of fun getting to take even just a small part of this project to the next level by illuminating it. I love the way this looks right here. But this is really all I got for you guys this week. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get done nearly as much as I wanted to do, but all things considered, I think this is a considerable amount of progress. This section right here is massive. It takes up most of a wall right here, and I think once we see this kind of closed in with the wall, and then the trenches on the other side, and of course the X-Wing is probably going to be right here with the turret pointing towards it, I think it's really going to look special. I just love the fact that we finally have just something different here in the trenches. You know, we had that building to start off, and that made it look pretty good. Like, that was a nice, unique part of it. But I feel like I've just been building these walls here for the longest time, which was cool, but it wasn't, you know, a super unique thing to have here in the trenches. So now that we have this just massive build right here with the turret built into it, I think it's going to take these trenches to the next level. So I got the lights turned off in the room just to give you guys a better look at the lights here. Moving forward, I'm obviously going to have to cover all this up and build it up slightly more to be leveled off with those pipes back there. But all in all, man, this is pretty freaking awesome. I'd love to give you guys a view of the trench, you know, everything lined up together. I think what I'm going to do is just get the trenches completely done, and then next week when we come back for the Starkiller update, you guys will get a nice holistic view of the trenches in their final form. I think it's really going to be something special. But with that being said, let's go ahead and close out the video for the final segment. And there you go. That is this week's episode of the Starkiller base mock build series. As always, in the comment section below, let me know what you guys think of the build. I just love this section. It's sitting right here in front of me behind the camera. I love the way this turret enclosure is looking. It's really unlike anything else that I've designed for this build. I think the way the angles line up to each other are very clean. It's very smooth. It's very snot looking. And it makes me happy. It makes me happy seeing this here constructed in front of me. And I want to keep going with it. I think as of now, like, that's the last super complex thing in the trenches that I had to get done. Right now, I really just have to get the rest of the walls finished up, and then also the like top sections where those pipes line the outside of the trenches. And then we'll finally be able to have a fully completed view of the trenches in next week's episode. So you guys definitely want to stay tuned. But that's all I got for you guys this week. If you like what I do, go ahead, support the video by hitting the like button, support the channel by smashing that subscribe button, and I'll be back again very soon.